in conjunction with a foundation called the Herzog Foundation that you're going to hear more about as this show rolls on. This is something that is so important to us. And while we were at AmFest not too terribly long ago, Charlie's big event out in Phoenix, I had the pleasure of meeting Erika Donalds. And Erika does work in this very same space with a company called Optima Edge. She's also part of the America First Policy Institute. She also happens to be, and this is like, fifth and sixth down on the list of things she is, but she also happens to be married to Congressman Byron Donalds of Florida. And she joins us this morning to talk about these issues and the big day on Monday. Ms. Donalds, it is so good to have you back. Good to see you in person. Good morning.
Great to be back with you. Thanks so much for having me.
It was great to meet you out there in Phoenix, and we were talking a little bit during the break before you came on about Inauguration Monday. You've got a lot going on. Your calendar sounds packed that day. Byron's going to be in demand, I know. He's one of the rising stars in the Republican ranks. Everybody wants a piece of Byron, which means you're right there with him. You're going to be dragged to all of these things whether you want to go or not.
Wow, it's going to be a fun weekend. There's a lot to celebrate. We're looking forward to the golden age of America, as President Trump continues to call it. And we're celebrating with all of our friends who've worked so hard to make this happen. So yes, it's going to be very busy. We're going to be all dressed up and cold, as we were talking about. But I think it's going to be a great time. It's a historic moment for our country. And we're just looking forward to the changes that President Trump and his administration are going to bring to pass.
Yeah, and specifically the education sector, the Department of Education. We know Linda McMahon is going to head that Department of Education. We know that Donald Trump has said, as far as he's concerned, he wouldn't mind just seeing the Department of Education dispatched with altogether. Speak to the work you do and how you might play a role in this facet of government going forward in policymaking.
Well, I've been working on education policy for about 15 years. After spending a career in investment management, I made the questionable life decision to run for school board and discovered, as you kind of laid out, that the system is incredibly broken. We have a monopolistic system in our country. It does not serve students or parents well. And we need universal school choice in every state in this country to really bring free market forces into bear, where innovation, access, and quality are going to come about and provide parents the ability to put their children in schools that align with their values at home and that are going to help them to succeed and thrive and really carry on this great tradition that made America great. Now, what President Trump promised the American people was universal school choice and to eliminate the Department of Education and federal involvement in our education system. And so I'm working, as you said, with the America First Policy Institute to help the White House, to help our future Secretary Linda McMahon and the states bring those policies to pass.
And I want to be clear, if your public school works for you, that's fine. That's your prerogative. We're not here, I think I speak for you, Erika, when I say we're not here to tell you that you're a bad person if you're putting your kid in public school. I'm just here to say that we know there are millions of parents who want out and don't feel they have an option. And I think you and I share in common, we think that's wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. People say that all the time. They accuse me of wanting to get rid of public education or public schools. And I say, that's not true. What I want to get rid of is the monopoly that they enjoy. Monopolies do not serve us well. And this one has not served us well for 100 years. Less than 40% of our students in the United States of America, according to the nation's report card, are doing reading and math on grade level. We are not competing with the rest of the world academically. And frankly, we're not going to succeed as a country and really be able to continue to innovate and be the leaders of the free world if we do not have an educated electorate. And so it is a national emergency. There are places like Baltimore where 40% of their high schools have 0 students who are reading proficiently. It's absolutely unacceptable. As many have said, it's the civil rights issue of our time. And I think that school choice not only helps students be able to find an academic environment that works well for them. I know I needed it for my own children, but also allows teachers and the teaching profession, which is also in crisis, to find a place where they feel comfortable teaching in a way that really amplifies their talents and allows them to be the professionals that they are.
I think people often, and I will count myself as one of these, not but a few years ago, they often think, well, my school's not so bad, or I like my town, and they put their kid on the bus and they send them off, or they're of a certain age, well, my kids are up and grown and I'm glad I don't have to worry about it anymore. I think there's still a lot of disengagement about public education and the track that it's on right now. A couple of years ago, obviously, we know it caught fire during COVID. We know a lot of parents speaking up at school board meetings. We know the Biden administration targeted them. That seems to have ebbed a little bit. I fear that the country is going back into this kind of laissez-faire attitude about our kids and their educations. Do you get that sense, or am I wrong?
Well, education was not a major issue in the election, even the election of Donald Trump, right? People are focused on the economy and immigration and things that are affecting them every single day. So I would tend to agree with you. However, I am seeing an amplification, and we are seeing a huge growth in homeschool families. As you know, that is the number one growth area for education. More and more parents are taking advantage of school choice. In Florida, we had just hit 500,000 students enrolling in our universal scholarship program. So while I agree it's not at top of mind to the majority of the electorate, those who it primarily affects, parents and their families, they are making moves to accept that school choice is a necessary thing for them and for their families, and they're voting that way. We've seen that also happen in both gubernatorial races. Look at what happened in Texas. We were able to get rid of the incumbents who did not support school choice, and that's moving forward. So yes, I agree. It's not top of mind across the nation because we have very big issues. Public safety being one of them,
yes.
and world safety, right? But it is a very big issue for our families, and we're seeing that at the ballot box as well.
I really believe that the opposition that people like your husband in elected office face, although it's withering and dwindling, but I think all of this kind of this really visceral, nasty, craziness that we've been living through, political consternation and opposition, that's healthy, that's fine, that's give and take. I'm talking about this kind of Marxist radical garbage. I am 100% convinced has come from an environment that's allowed it to foster, that's taught our kids to hate the country and have absolutely no respect for a biblical worldview or just a creator. There's an open hostility to it, and I think that's what breeds this next generation of just cultural Marxism viciousness, Erika. Am I wrong?
We saw that on full display after October 7th on our college campuses. And what that is a culmination, not just of what they learned on that particular college campus, but what they learned in their K-12 system, wherever they came from in the United States. So absolutely, we have seen evidence of that. And unfortunately, we, in some cases, our parents were asleep at the wheel. The teachers' unions and the radical ideologues have infiltrated our public schools for a generation, and we have not been paying attention. They have been closing off our classrooms to parents, not knowing what is being taught in there. Now that has thankfully been exposed, especially through the pandemic. And that is why parents are opting out of the public school system. That is why they're getting activated through organizations like the Leadership Institute, Moms for Liberty, and others that are helping them to not just get active and help school board members get elected, but run for school board and advocate as well for state legislators who will give them the school choice that they deserve.
And I would tell you, my friends at the Herzog Foundation, if you don't know them, if you are in a Christian school environment now and you want some help and some resources and some backup and some best practices counsel, maybe you want to start your own school. That's another thing that's been so cool as we've been following this subject, Erika, are people that are starting their own small schools, micro schools, neighborhood schools, one-room schoolhouses, Christian schools. There are a lot of people that have a heart to start this for their community. If that's on your heart, run over to our friends at the Herzog Foundation, herzogfoundation.com, and they'll walk you through step by step how you can do that thing. And those resources are free as well. So whether it's homeschooled or whether it's starting your own, I hope people check that out. To the point of the NEA and the teachers union specifically, I have a story here from the Daily Wire. Teachers union heads indicted for fraud, stealing more than $2 million from union in your state. Erika, the indictment against somebody called Terry Brady, president of the Duval Teachers United, and Ruby George, executive vice president, unsealed this week. They could face a decade in prison if convicted. Conspiracy to commit wire fraud, 8 counts of aiding and abetting wire fraud, 3 counts of aiding and abetting mail fraud, $1.2 million each. The union cheated out of their funds. I also saw this week, if I may, I'll throw in on this and then you take it away. Your husband's colleague, the newly elected congressperson from Delaware, who is a biological male, dresses as a woman, went to read to school children all about transgender stuff, and the NEA was on the banner sponsoring the event right behind him, pretending to be a her. So this is This is very real. I'm not saying every teacher and every classroom is implicated in this, but this is very real, and odds are it's happening somewhere close to where you live.
And yes, we could name so many of those types of issues across the country where teachers have broken trust. The NEA certainly has broken trust many times over the years. And so I advocate for school choice as really the answer to all of our educational ills, whether it's academic performance issues or crime in the classroom or schools just simply not aligning with teachers' value or with parents' values. And so if parents can vote with their feet, if organizations like Herzog, the Optima Foundation, which has also a Start a School initiative helping people start schools, if those are successful in providing the supply and we are successful in providing the demand and parents with the agency to vote with their feet with the funds that they deserve, we can have an ecosystem of education options that aligns with parents' values and expectations when it comes to their students' academics. And these students will thrive in the environments that we provide for them. So school choice is the answer because people are not going to always align with what the parents' expectations are going to be.
I asked Erika if she would send us maybe some photos. We probably can't get her live to do correspondence, but I asked her if she'd send us some photos like Entertainment Tonight because you're going to all the swanky ceremonies this coming weekend and next week. So we hope we'll check back and get a review on how everything went. But it's going to be cold, so we said it's hard to be fashionable when it's cold. Be careful out there.
We're definitely going to warmth first, fashion second, but we're going to have a great time, and I'll be happy to update you after the fact.
Thank you, Erika. Great to talk to you.